Hello and welcome to this episode. So now security is going to be your main next thing. We've already got our scooter on the road. We've looked at our gear. Now you want to consider this as very important because one of my old scooters, the 125cc, I didn't really have any locks and it basically got lifted. So someone stole it. So this is going to be your one-stop shop for locks. So we got disc lock. We got multiple chains here. I'm going to show you how I use them and why I use them. Think about it like this. Make it as hard as possible for someone to steal it. They still can possibly steal it with all this stuff. They'll just get an electric angle grinder and just take it. I've got a disc lock on the disc and I've got a reminder cable on my brake so I don't ride off with it. My first chain is a thick iron chain which goes around the front wheel. I have a secondary Oxford lock chain which is a square type profile. I put that through the rear wheel. So this normally is along the lines of parking in a town centre kind of scenario or leaving it somewhere if you're going riding or whatever. What you want is an object you can fix it to. So you got my third chain there which loops into the back wheel chain. I get my Oxford D type lock and I put that through there. I'm just getting the keys out now. So remember, if they want to steal it, they're going to get it. But if yours is chocked, blocked with chains and all sorts, they'll just move on to somebody else's, unfortunately. So yeah, it's one of those scenarios. Ideally, we don't want them stealing anything, but if you don't have any locks, you're more prone for them to easily just take your bike. So here we got that secondary chain linking the rear wheel chain and the front wheel chain together, which means that we have created a loop. The front disc lock also has an alarm, so it might scare them if it kind of beeps and you know what it's like. But there is how it looks. Now ideally you want something strong in between there that you loop that around so that little chain would work. I have this extra loop thingy that's more for like helmets and stuff, extra gear just to sit on the seat to stop the honest thieves. I have got a back box anyway, the helmet goes in there. So here you see if I pull that chain, this is where you'd have a gate or an iron lamppost or something secure to basically keep it off the ground ideally. So I normally loop it around to keep it off the ground. If they've got bolt cutters, it makes it harder. The lock has a little spinny thing on, so if it's raining it doesn't get water inside the lock system. So yeah, this is like a one-stop shop basically. All these chains combined, you're probably looking at £25, £30 for the Oxford chain and the lock. And this other one's like a little special. This one is, it's like a square profile, but it's more designed for cycles. But it's an iron chain. The lock is not excellent on it, but you know, it's deterrent, so I'd rather put something on than nothing on. So you'll see this lock that I use is an Oxford D type lock, but this other one is a Bike Mate. And you can see I've got 3 chains looped in that one. It's not excellent, but I'll show you what you can do with this lock. It's got like an extra profile which stops bolt cutters from cutting the lock itself. That is just a standard thick chain, and then you got the disc lock there. So that's like trying to keep it as safe as possible, because what happens is there's that thing I was talking about. So you basically put that over the lock where it's visible, and then when you put the lock on, you'll see less of it is visible. So if you got bolt cutters, you can't really grip onto anything. But the only thing with that is I can only put one loop in there for like a chain. Yeah. So what's quite common is people nick scooters like my one, which is like a 250cc scooter because it's easy to ride. And normally if they're stealing, they have 2 people, one on the back and one riding. The one on the back gets off and rides off with the other motorcycle they're stealing. And this is their getaway getaway bike. So that's why these are very commonly stolen, the scooters, especially the bigger powered ones, because they're a bit more faster. And it's like the X-Max style. A lot of people rob them. So I'm hoping this helps you with what I do. This has worked for many years so far, but if they're gonna steal it, they are gonna steal it. There's nothing stopping them from coming, and all you'll see is a couple of broken chains on the floor and the bike's gone. Try and park it in an area where there's security cameras possibly, and where there's a built-up area. But then again, I've seen videos of people stealing these bikes in daylight and not being scared of anyone. So, you know. Okay, so I've got a back box, and the back box has my helmet in. So that's an extra thing where I can put gloves in and stuff. And that's got a lock. So that is your overview of keeping your bike safe. Try and keep it as safe as possible. And yeah, hopefully we survive another summer and not get stolen. It's an older bike, so I'm hoping that they look at it and think, "Wow, that's not worth it," and they won't mess with it. But so top box comes off, and you've got a bit more street racing capabilities there, if you can call it that. X City 250cc. Watch out for this project. I'll link you to the playlist. Check out the next video in this series.